some of the risks, some of the challenges, I want to take you to a story. I want to share a story with you. So in the mid-90s, I was working as the chief accountant. They called it the controller. I was in charge of the accounting department for a tech company. At that time, there weren't many tech companies. We didn't even call it a tech company. We called it it was called a developer of set-top boxes. And what that was, if you think back to your cable subscription some years ago, when you wanted video on demand or special movie channels, they sent you had a box that went right next to your TV. And back in the 90s, it went on top of your TV. So that's why it was called a set-top box. So at this time, if you're around and you remember, there was no video on demand in the mid-90s. So our company, our tech company, the company I was working for, was way ahead. So there was all sorts of potential available to us if we could have developed this set-top box on time and as promised. Well, as you know, I'm gonna share some of the challenges here, which kind of relate to now, because it was a very uncertain time. We were building something that had not been built, so costs, estimates, all those things were not available. So many of the decisions that had to be made, we didn't have a lot of information, and in some cases not enough or not at all information to make some of those decisions. And senior management, our general manager, tended to hesitate quite a bit because of that situation. As I share the story, I'm going to leave out some details for confidentiality reasons, but I think you'll get the overall lessons and results, right? So I remember having a discussion with the general manager, and he wanted to expand a particular project, right? He wanted to sign, there was an opportunity to sign a contract to get revenue on a particular new project. But he didn't have enough information on what that would cost and how we could make estimates on the revenue. So me being the chief accountant, I went to speak to the chief engineer. We had software engineers, we had hardware engineers, and there were a few other types that I don't remember. And so I speak with the very nice fellow chief engineer, and I kind of give him an idea of what we need. I remember the engineers used to talk in terms of people hours, right? So, for example, if it's 2 engineers working on a project, the whole 40-hour week, that's 2 times 40, 80 people hours. So we were talking a little bit about that because we needed some of the costs, and also we would need to make some estimates on revenue. So the chief engineer gives me a look like you don't understand and says to me, if what we wanted was information on the entire department, costs for the entire department, that we had. But he's saying this project is really based on just certain types of engineers doing something new that we don't have full information on. I suggested we look at some of the previous projects, and again, he gave me that look, and while they kept a lot of records on, of course, coding, how to build these things that they were building, specs, and other things, they did not keep details on which types of engineers and which engineers were working on which project. They didn't keep costs of those. They knew which engineers worked on which project, but they didn't keep costs of that information. At least they didn't keep it in a way that we could have pulled it easily. It would have taken a long time to get it, and by then the project opportunity was gone. So that happened in that particular project, in that situation, and it happened many other times. And as I can tell you, the story doesn't end well. As I said, there was a lot of opportunity if we'd been able to build it on time. We were not able to build the box on time, and so other companies beat us to the punch. Our company lost all its potential, and in the end, it was liquidated. Assets were sold off for a discount, my stock options were practically worthless at the end. So I learned some valuable lessons from that and painful, that I want to share with you. It's really important to measure everything as much as possible, everything in your business, so that when you make decisions, you can make informed decisions. You as a business owner know you've got difficult decisions to make during regular times. During these times, you've got difficult to make decisions to make in an environment of indecision, right? So you need to be able to measure, know what the results are, and to see the results so that you can make more informed business decisions as you go along. Now, no one is going to get their decisions right all the time. That's not what I'm suggesting. That doesn't happen. But that's why it's even more important to have good systems in place where you are measuring these things. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. But where you're measuring all of this, as an example, the department that I went to look at. Not only should we know what the expenses are for the whole department, but also within the department.